Yeah, what's up? It's your boy Grizzly FOG, and you are now listening to the Ring Talk Podcast. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and holla at me at Twitter at Grizzly FOG. Also on Instagram at Grizzly Ray, SoundCloud.com/Grizzly FOG. And listen to this podcast wherever podcasts are presented. Also on Anchor.fm/Grizzly FOG. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Grizzly FOG. You know what it is, Doc Chopper, Puerto Rican Flame back up in here again, you know what I'm saying? And welcome back to Ring Talk, you know what I'm saying? We are trying something new. I'm on Zencaster, and I got somebody with me today. Before we get into that, make sure to listen to my past podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm on Anchor.fm/Grizzly FOG. Check out my SoundCloud, SoundCloud.com/Grizzly FOG. I got some projects and stuff dropping soon and all the good stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Also, I'm also working on a very special EP. I have a personality that I created and already dropped one single from it. And like I said, check it out, soundcloud.com/Grizzly FOG. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so follow your boy on all platforms. I'm on YouTube and SoundCloud and all that good stuff. So today is a landmark episode of Ring Talk. This is episode 6. My last episode, I talked briefly about Asuka and her women's championship woes, I guess. And then also I talked about the departure of Kairi Sane and good stuff like that. So if you missed the last podcast, is on YouTube, Spotify, and like I said, wherever my podcast is at. But like I said, today's a landmark episode. It's the first time that I have a guest on the episode. This is my homeboy I've been talking about for a couple episodes now. He is a rapper, an artist, also a writer at a new wrestling news website, WrestlingOutpost.com, covering Stardom and Joshi. Everybody, welcome, Hana Kimura. What's up, bro?
Hey, thank you very much for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be part of Ring Talk for sure.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, be on some more episodes down the line. Hopefully, I can also get some more people up here. But it's like an honor to have you as my first guest on here, man. I don't even know how to start this off. I don't know. Well, actually, I do know how to start this off. Just go ahead and introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, you covered quite a lot with your introduction. My name is Hana Kimura, also known as Golden Gripp. Um, Multifaceted artist, do a lot of visual art, music, and like you said, I just got involved in a new wrestling website, Wrestling Outpost. That's definitely an experience to be part of that because it is a website focused on equality within the wrestling community and was started by Georgia Madden. She's a writer for Steelchair and is doing a lot of good things. So there's a lot of very skilled, passionate, really brilliant ladies to be part of that team. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. Like, how does it feel to be a writer for such a wrestling website? Getting your articles and stuff out there.
Man, it's really cool. It really adds a whole different layer to being a fan and gets me even more involved, which is always a good thing. And definitely makes me analyze things from a completely different angle that just adds depth to it and gives me a whole different appreciation to it. And I really like the angle that they use as far as inclusive and broader scope. Like wrestling has a tendency to have a real toxic overtone in the community,
Yeah.
So that's what I really appreciate about Wrestling Outpost is that it doesn't have any of that.
Right. 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 So let's see. I want to start out with Stardom. You put up a article recently about the state of Stardom and stuff right now. How do you feel about it as of right now? I don't know if you really caught up with the whole 5-star Grand Prix and stuff like that, but what are your opinions about Stardom right now?
Man, they definitely have been on a roller coaster this year. I mean, as all of us have, but especially for their, purposes, all intents and purposes. But I'm feeling pretty positive about where they're at right now, especially with 5 star and the Yokohama Cinderella tournament coming up here in just about a week or two.
Oh yeah,
Um, you know, they got a really strong core roster. They're doing some really interesting things with their storylines and their talent. I haven't seen all of the first 2 nights of the 5 star yet. I've got about 5 matches left to watch, but the
oh
first
yeah.
night alone was real strong. I thought they had some good performances, and the I think the energy they're putting behind Donna Del Mondo is really intriguing. At first, I wasn't a big fan of DDM. I know you're a fan of Julia, and you love Julia, just like so
Yeah.
many others.
They pulled me in. I was like, I don't know, but I don't know what happened.
And she is proving herself for sure. I'm not gonna lie. I'm becoming more and more impressed with her abilities and personality and everything. But it's they're definitely using DDM as kind of a fulcrum to propel themselves even further. Um, and yeah, just I think overall they're in a really good place, and it's only the sky's the limit, really.
Yeah, man. I think they're doing a good job. I know, I've been on Twitter. Obviously, I be on Twitter every day, and kind of like a 50-50 thing with DDM kind of running the show and stuff like that. Like I remember the first night, I've been seeing a whole bunch of tweets and stuff. It's like half people don't really. It's kind of like majority people don't really, like it or get, them pushing DDM like that. But you know, I don't know. I guess like Rossi is kind of touching people's buttons, don't you think?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I was really not feeling DDM as a whole. I'm not sure what it was. Something just didn't really click with me and them. But the more I see, the more they're utilizing them, and the more I'm seeing from their abilities and just overall package, it's really, kind of a smart move, I think.
Yeah. So, do you have like a definite winner or somebody you want to see win the 5 star?
Man, I really would like to see Tam win because I know she has been gunning for the white belt and has been wanting to do that for Arisa. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think if I had to send out a projection, um, I really think Mike is looking good, man. I know she's a rookie, and it'd be kind of bold for her to, get that win right out of the gate, but I kind of see that happening.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I mean, I really don't have like a permanent person I want to see win. I don't know. I guess I say like Konami or somebody like that.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't know. It's just the way DDM is kind of running things, and they've been looking strong throughout the tournament so far. What I've seen.
yeah. I think the momentum that they've got behind them right now, just it would be kind of, uh, I don't know, it'd be kind of a mistake to not put that to use. So, and I
Yeah,
know how when on the first night when they had DDM get on the mic after everybody's win, and Julia was saying, I think we're gonna win this whole thing. We're gonna get wins all through the tournament, and then, um, you know, Siri pointed out, she was like, "Well, one of us, if we got to lose, we're going to face each other." And then Micah's like, "It's going to be you, Julia." I was like, "Oh shit, that was that
Yeah,
was no joke."
it really wasn't either because they announced she had to pull out because of health issues and stuff like that, and it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was actually really impressed too by I think it was the first intrafaction match with Starlight Kid and Mayu. That was a good match right there.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. So I know you are really on the side of things with AEW.
Hmm.
Obviously I see you live tweet every Wednesday, just like me, and stuff like that. Quickly, I just wanted to see and pick at your thoughts. We'll see what you feel about the whole women's division in general. Like I know, at the beginning, it was a process, but now they have stars injured like Chris Statlander and Britt Baker, and you still got some people that can't come like Yuka and Emi and stuff like that. So how are you feeling about the women's division so far?
Well, I gotta say, man, as you brought the topic of AEW women's division, I was just shaking my head, man, because if I have one major complaint about how AEW is handling things, it is definitely first and foremost the women's division. They just can't seem to get a grip on how to use their talent, and they're trying some things out with storylines, and they're trying some things out with the women's Deadly Draw tag team tournament. So I mean, they're experimenting, but it's just not clicking yet, man. And it's really disappointing because just last night on Dynamite they had Sheeta just fight. What was her name? Monroe.
Yeah,
Just
something like that.
somebody they really haven't even had out before. So they just had a squash match with her, and then you know they just could be doing so much more. She issued that challenge, and then at the end of the match she wins, and she's like, "I'm still waiting."
Yeah,
I mean, and I love how they have handled the women's championship title. I mean, I think they've really done some good things with that so far. But aside from that, they really need some work with their women's division. And I know the AEW heels
yeah.
venture is more of a community based thing, and I think it's really good that they're doing that. But just yeah, I think they need to get some new ideas, maybe shake some things up with creative and pull somebody else in, or source some ideas or something to kind of spark things off with their women's division.
Yeah, as you know, like last week when Brandi announced it, the AEW Heels thing, and announced the $49 annual fee. You've seen a lot of backlash and stuff like that from that, and it ended up with Brandi deactivating her Twitter and stuff like that. Do you think that was like justified, or do you think the fans had to understand something?
Uh, you know, I think there's kind of a miscommunication there too. Like, I will say that uh, at first I wasn't real sure about the annual fee. It didn't seem, from me and my perspective, that it really offered enough for that annual membership. But um, I realized after hearing some of the members, being part of it and being part of the Zoom calls, one of our writers actually even pointed out that she has taken more away from just her, few weeks with her membership of Heels
Yeah,
than she has with church, school, her work. She just has, I guess, a sense of a community and just educationally, things that empower her and embolden her as a woman. So I mean that alone showed me that there's a huge, tremendous strength to what they're doing. But as far as what Brandy did with how she handled, kind of bringing in her heel spin with she's like got her she's the only member of AEW to have a figure that's a woman, and
Yeah,
she kind of pulled in her heel angle into the ownership a little bit. I think that didn't help her cause, and maybe deleting her Twitter and taking a step back was a good move on her part.
yeah. I don't really think that kind of helped at all. I think I've seen people saying that AEW needs to hire like PR or whatever, and it's I don't know if it's like an experience on their part or just something different. I have no idea.
I'm not sure either, but I know that she's got a lot on her plate, and it's only so much that any one person can handle. So hopefully, she doesn't let any naysaying and negativity get to her head under her skin, because there's a lot that she has taken on as brand officer. So
Yeah. Um, man. Let's see. I noticed a couple episodes back they will at least have like um segments, promos at least from like Britt Baker and Big Swole, kind of going back and forth at it and stuff like that. Now it's kind of just like the women's match and that's it. Like, would they benefit from at least like two women's matches and then like a promo? Like at least NXT. On the other hand, they're doing like two women's matches every Wednesday, and
mhm.
they're 2 hours as well. So do you think that will at least benefit, or do you think they're planning on making like a women's show or what?
Well, at this point, for them, I think less is more. I would love to see more women's action, but they've got to get more of a handle on how to really utilize their talent and get some good storylines going in between. Because one of the major criticisms I keep seeing that I really agree with is a lot of these women's matches are just random. Just they throw them out there. There's no background or any kind of motivation behind them. So
Right, right,
it's
yeah,
really hard for fans to be invested with something like that when they're just not being given any incentive to.
yeah, definitely. It kind of seems like they're just throwing them out there like a good 5 or 10 minutes and that's it.
Hmm.
At least I would like to see them improve at least that. Sheeta really isn't really in any storylines or anything like that. I feel like you got what good. He's at least got a good like two or three people who could at least vie for the title, like Big Swole or Nala again, or maybe Penelope Ford. But we see Nala and Penelope already fought Sita and stuff like that. I guess it's just like the limitations of the women's division, not having anyone available or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, going into pay per view here next month, I mean, we kind of the clock is ticking on setting something up to really get the fires going. So hopefully they, figure something out pretty quick. I have faith that they'll piece something together. Uh, but yeah, it's definitely a work in progress, as many things are.
Yeah. So the hottest thing that people talk about besides just watching the show is ratings and this whole demograph thing going on with NXT and AEW, with AEW winning every week and stuff like that. People making it a topic to talk about, making it seem like I guess it matters or whatever. Do you think it matters in your opinion, or does it not?
Man, I'm a little bit torn on that because it definitely brings back memories of my entrance into being a big wrestling fan back in the WCW, WWF era, the Monday Night War. So I mean, a little bit of competition is always a good thing, but I also think that the ratings is a big part of all the toxicity that you see in the wrestling community. I mean, it's a
Mm-hmm.
major point of debate. You see, I actually stay off Twitter quite a bit, other than on Wednesday nights if I can, just because I have never really been in the habit of using Twitter. But on Instagram, I see quite a lot of, backlash of reporting, what the ratings were that Wednesday night or whatever, and people are so sour, man. They can't just let something ride and have a good, run. People just want to
Right.
like tear it down, and just because it's not on their side or in their camp, they don't want to see it thrive. So that's a real unfortunate part. I think that's a major problem with the community. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of why I got out of wrestling for so long too, is because once WCW went down and how they got bought out, it just really turned me off to it, man. I just couldn't hang with it anymore. So I think competition is really important. You got to have that, but there's a certain degree of the fans' accountability of being, just I don't know, not not being so up in arms all the time.
Right, right. So to piggyback off what you said, you was got into wrestling basically when the Monday Night Wars were going on in the Attitude Era and stuff. And then what happened? You just fell out and stuff like that when WCW went away.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily just the fact that WCW got bought out. Creative at WCW was really getting trashy, and
Well,
just
yeah, yeah.
things just went down the toilet pretty quick. And I was a fan of ECW too back in the day, a little bit. And I mean, I would still flip over to WWF during commercial breaks, and I had certain wrestlers that I followed on there that I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm not gonna watch Raw at all just because it's Raw. That's a whole mentality that I think is holding the community back. But it was also a major shifting point in my life when all that happened because I graduated high school and went off to college, and I I guess I've convinced myself that I had to outgrow wrestling because I didn't think I could keep up with it or I'd have time, or I thought maybe I'd be the only person in my circle there that would be interested in it. So I figured, maybe it was just time for me to step away.
Gotcha. Um, I want to go ahead and get into this topic because I've been wanting to talk about it ever since Monday, all week. But before I do that, um, could you tell the audience and me in particular, obviously I already know, but you tell the audience how and who got you back into professional wrestling?
Well, I can pinpoint it down to uh, a week last summer. It was the last week of June. I was sitting at home after work and just falling down the YouTube rabbit hole, and I discovered this series called The Wrestlers. There was this one episode in particular. Just scrolling through my recommended feeds on YouTube, it was Japan's finest wrestlers or Japan's greatest wrestlers, and it covered Stardom. And during Stardom's like interview and being covered, they basically followed Mayu, and Mayu's story was really intriguing because she just kind of gave up everything,
Yeah.
and that was basically who that documentary covered. But as soon as I started exploring Stardom, there was one person that stood out to me and just basically hooked me, and that was Hana Kimura. Um, she, I basically attribute her almost single handedly making me a wrestling fan again because she had that it factor, man, more than anybody to this day I've seen. She had this magnetism that she could tell a story without even speaking. She
Right.
had this aura, this energy that I can't even really put into words, man. It was just phenomenal. Um, so she alone is basically why my life just took that U-turn and went right back into being just full on a wrestling fan again. She changed a lot for me.
Right. So as we all know, what happened May 23rd was the passing of Hana Kimura. Um uh it's kind of unique. Over here in the US it was daytime. It was like around 2:30ish. I remember it was like a day that you just like remember where you were and stuff like that. Like similar to when Kobe Bryant passed away. I remember I was in here in my house and a homeboy hit me up on Messenger saying that Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter accident. And I was like, what? And then, just looking at Twitter and TMC reporting it. Man, I was at work and it was like 2:30. Like I said, I was on the lunch break and was checking Twitter and seeing a couple of people mention Hana and uh, going to her profile, seeing those images and stuff like that. And then later in 12 midnight or whatever, seeing that she passed away. Did you see it in real time, her tweets and stuff like that, or did you learn about it later?
Well, no, like I said, I actually don't use Twitter real heavily. I did follow her, and I was, following Stardom's account, obviously, but I didn't have notifications for anybody turned on or anything, and rarely checked it. So I actually found out through you through our Discord chat,
Uh,
um, and I was following her aside from Stardom on Terrace House really closely. I actually had a VPN account set up specifically so I could watch on Netflix Japan each week and not have to wait 6 months like all the rest of the American audience we had to do over here.
right.
Um, but yeah, man, I will never forget that night. It was a week after my birthday, and uh, like you said, it was just one of those moments in life that you will never forget. The
Right.
impact and just jarring reminder that life is not promised and it's very, very fleeting.
Right. So, like I wanted to talk about, so this past Monday, which was August 10th, Netflix Japan, they decided to take down, what was it, part three of Terrace House Tokyo, for some reason.
Hmm.
Did you think they just took it down just to take it down, or did they take it down because of the things about Hana Kimura and what's going on with Fuji Television and Kyoko?
It's a good question. I really wish I had a little bit of insight to know because either way, there's a questionable nature of it. Like I was up real like I just woke up real late on what night was it? The ninth, I guess, right before they took it down on the 10th,
Right.
and I had a Reddit notification. Someone was like, "Oh, Terrace House is getting taken down." I was like, "What?" And yeah, it was part three is what they took down, just part three only, because that's where things started really going off the wall for her. And I actually started watching some of those episodes before they took them off because I figured, I hate to revisit this as bad as it was, because she really, man, she was really shown in a poor light, not as a negative person, but just because of her falling head over heels for Rio and getting her heart broken so
Yeah.
maliciously. I mean, like it was such a disregarding way that he just kind of brushed her off, and she's like crying like every episode for a few weeks there, and so I think if they weren't pressured to take season three down, they knew that it was not a good look on their part the way that things went down for her, and that just in that season or that part of the season alone. Of course, part four never made it to the States. So a lot of people were in the dark about it and they never got to see that episode, that infamous episode, the costume incident. But part of me thinks that Fuji didn't get any pressure because Kyoko Kimura is just now starting to get into the legal action part of her campaign and what she's trying to do.
Right.
So I think they just that maybe showed a little bit of awareness about how things looked, and they tried to cover themselves before you know the evidence was used against them.
Now, for people like over here in the States, I think the biggest articles really got out of it was when news sites reported her death, and I remember there was somebody that was wrote about it on the New York Times. They did the article about the rise and fall of Terrence House or something like that. I think the only way that we have gotten news was through Farah on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
at Farah Kase. Shout out to her. Um, she did translations, which was basically helpful to the overseas audience and stuff who followed Terrence House and Hana Kimura. Um, do you think there's like a reason that like no other news sites here is not following the whole thing?
I wish I knew, man, because it is a huge. Uh, there's a huge lesson to be learned, and I definitely send my you know my wishes and regards to Kyoko, and I really am appreciative that Farah was able to cover and translate. And that was a lot of work and a lot of translation that she did.
Oh yeah,
So it wasn't just like a few hours that she spent. It was days, and who knows how much time and work that she put into that. But
right.
I don't know why U.S. news sources aren't really covering it. The sad thing is that when she died, everybody just jumped at the story of what happened, how it happened, or not even so much how it happened, just why what happened did or occur.
Hmm. Yeah.
Nobody seemed to really follow the deep reason, and they just wanted to know what happened, and not necessarily as much why, and explore that as much. And I think it's sad because there's so much more to her life than the end. So yeah.
So like after her death, oh, Twitter, like I said, be on there a lot, and wrestling Twitter was kind of in mourning for at least I remember like maybe 2.5 days before another incident wrestling Twitter happened. I think it was the JD incident, JD from NY, and I remember people was like, you know, uh, Jesus, what I want to say. People was kind of like, this just happened and we need to be better and stuff like that. But they turned the other cheek quickly. And ever since then, it seems like, some people or some wrestler or some writer uh, enables and uses Hana's name to compare something like an incident or something like that.
Hmm.
Is that I know that's like very, very annoying to see. Like, how do you feel about that?
Um, it's a double-edged sword because on one note, it's good that they are remembering, you know, what's possible if you're neglectful and not respectful, and just let things kind of go haywire, or go south, I guess. On the other side, it's like they're just using a uh, they're just using somebody's name to try and make a talking point, or maybe validate what their viewpoint is or where they're coming from, and that just kind of reduces you know the lesson that we need to learn about what happened to it just takes it down to the meaning is not where it should be. Not really sure how to say it, but it's like you know it's just it does a disservice, does a huge disservice to what we should take away from what
Hmm.
happened with her. It's like almost missing the point entirely in a way.
All right, yeah, I definitely feel the same way. It's like a lesson to be learned. But uh, I guess at the same times, you have to be kind of respectful. Um, when mentioning one's name, especially somebody who's deceased, and
Hmm.
I just feel like just try to be respectful about it. Don't try to use it as a crutch, I say, or something like that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Um, so It's been a couple rough months for Kyoko. Basically, I remember, like I said, episode 2 on my podcast. She was about to go do something crazy, and um, the fact that she's basically doing this alone, I don't think with no legal help, and stuff like that, and revealing, about 2 days after Hana's death that, Bushiroad contacted her, and they wanted to talk about, setting up memorial and selling merch for profits. They want to talk about profits, but, she didn't want none of that. She didn't want to uh, get involved in that. And she wanted help and asked for that, but Bushiroad declined. And now, with Fuji Television, recently they did a whole investigation, but they did it internally. They didn't have any third party come in and investigate. How do you feel about Fuji Television doing that and um stuff like that?
Man, it kind of speaks a story on its own. Just the fact that they didn't get a third party into that investigation. Also, was very telling that they didn't ask Kai Kobayashi, who was obviously a big part of what they should be investigating.
Right.
They didn't reach out to him at all. I think they knew that since he wasn't in a position where he could be held back in any way or anything, since he left of his own will before everything happened, I think they knew it wouldn't go well for them. So I'm glad that he has kind of, been involved and integral to this whole legal pursuit that's happening with Kyoko. Because he's, was very outspoken about how their practices were malicious, and I think he and Hana only went on one date on camera, and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that they wanted him to feel her up and
Yeah,
had
that's
them reshoot scenes, and he said that that wasn't the only time that something like that happened. I mean,
right,
that's
right.
just disgusting, man. And the worst part is that Fuji TV has gone through this before. They've done, um, really nasty things with other seasons and have been taken off the air for 5 years and then come back.
Oh yeah.
So, I think this, if ever, this should be the time that they are taken down to some extent. I don't know what that would entail, at least with their producers that were in charge of this season or the whole series. Somebody's got to answer for that, because that's not just, you know a young woman's life that came to an end because of how they treated her, just for used a reaction from the audience. But there are other people that have been through it. Like Amika on Terrace House. She had a breakdown on camera. They actually
Right.
showed it, and it was all because of the response that social media was giving her, and it was all because of how she was being portrayed. And they obviously use the footage and kind of um, they kind of make things appear as they want, and they have the way to do that with the commentary panel and the way that they edit things. So they are definitely at fault here, and they are responsible for all this mess that we have now.
Right, right. Um to end it on this topic, Kyoko, she's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I feel like she's one of the strongest people that I've seen. Maybe she, doesn't recognize it or doesn't know it, but I feel like she's one of the strongest people I've seen, dealing with a lot.
Hmm.
A lot of this by herself, like I said
Right.
earlier. Um, taking down, trying to take down um corporation, and stuff is not easy. You know, in your words, what do you think people should know about Kyoko Kimura?
Well, I mean, she's an incredible woman. I mean, to know that she raised Hana on her own. Um, I don't know what the specifics are about with her father, her biological father, but I think she may have been protecting Hana. I just get that sense. So I think that it seems like Kyoko made that choice early in her daughter's life to, raise her on her own, and it's hard to do that. I mean, let alone be a professional wrestler and do that. So I mean, my utmost respect goes to her, and I mean, look at the job that she did because Hana was such a bright spot in
Yeah,
in in the world, and the fact that she didn't push Hana to be a wrestler, and she encouraged her to pursue her own dreams of acting and dancing and modeling before Hana came around and realized that she had such a talent and a gift, and was I think she was you know born to do it. It's like it was in her blood and DNA, and it showed because she was only in the industry for about 4 or 5 years maybe, and she had unlimited potential. And
right.
I just think Kyoko is an amazing woman for not pushing her to do what she loved. And so many parents push their children to follow in their footsteps and inherit the family business, and there's no other way. But she opened it up to let Hana find out for herself what she wanted to do, and then it ended up working out in the long run.
Yeah, man. That was great to see how Hana was, her charisma and everything, her smile and everything. Her as a human being is awesome, and stuff like that. And I think Kyoko raised her very, very well, very beautifully. You can't get no much better than that and stuff like that. Um, to end this on basically a high note, I want to know, and I guess everybody else who's listening wants to know. Um, I don't know have if you really been around the Josie block like that, but who are some of your favorite Josie wrestlers? No matter like old school or new school or whatever.
Well, man, I have to say I have not been around the Joshi block, and I basically Stardom is almost the limit to my knowledge. I'm,
Ah,
starting to branch out a little bit. As you know, I'm kind of interested in getting into like Choker Pro and Ice Ribbon and a few other promotions. But you're actually a big reason of what put Joshi on my radar because of course, our correspondence began with music, and I think it was like in 2017 maybe. I started reaching out to you for beats and listening to your music, and you always have had a heavy, heavy influence with not just professional wrestling, but Joshi wrestling.
yeah,
So I definitely look to you for some of the, legacy, like old school knowledge base. But as far as just my exposure, my experience in Joshi, I really like Mayu. I think her dedication and um, her story is just phenomenal. Also, big fan of Tam Nakano.
mm-hmm.
I love her style. Like she's got the kung fu girl princess vibe with martial arts being a heavy part of her move set. Um, I do like Starlight Kid because I'm a big fan of Lucha Libre. So she really speaks to me with her her move set as well. Um, so I'm thinking that might be my top three. I do as far as Japanese wrestling. I do like Jamie Hayter and B Priestley too. I was uh, really bummed to hear that Jamie, not Jamie, B got released from AEW.
Yeah,
I just heard that from you like right before we started recording this, but there's so many other names that I could come with, but just to keep it short and sweet, I'll probably just hit those three and just leave it at that.
yeah. I'm gonna get you right, bro. I'm gonna have to recommend some matches
I
and
know
some
when I said that I didn't know that Death Yama-san was in her 40s. I thought she was a lot younger. You're like, Grip, are you
oh
shitting
man,
me?
yeah. I'm like, dude, she looks so young. She even looking like she's in her 40s. Like,
Like with the I've only known her with the face paint and the death gimmick, so like
yeah,
I was like, oh man, I got a lot to learn.
yeah, man. Yeah, apparently I do too. Jesus, but yeah, we gonna get you right. I had to give you some matches and some names. Throw in a little bit of Bull Nakano and Akira Hokuto and some Manami Toyota, maybe some Kamiko Maikawa on the side too. But yeah, before we get out of here, would you like to promote any links or anything else?
um, I don't know if I have anything outright that I want to promote at this moment. I mean, I'm always working on things, but I had a major focus of mine was this album called Lone Wolf Leone, and I haven't really been working on that as much. I have a video that my first video for that came out a few months ago, but just overall, if anybody wants to find me, just look up Golden Grip on pretty much any platform. It's Golden, and the last name is Gripp, two P's. Also on YouTube, I've got a decent amount of videos. I do some video editing on as a hobby, so um, like with my Dynamite experience, the first pro wrestling show I've been to in like 19 years. I did kind of a video package for that whole experience. So just look for me on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Golden Grip.
All right, and we will end it. I appreciate you for coming through. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
thanks so
saying?
much, man. Thank you for having me.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's your boy, Grizzly FOG. Like I said, follow Adam Grip, Golden Grip on Twitter at Digitized Night, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, you got that. You got it right.
And yeah, uh, if you listen to this episode, thank you guys so much for listening to it. Like I said, I'm on everything, Apple Podcast, Spotify, anchor.com, anchor.fm/Grizzly FOG and stuff like that. And so, be sure to tune in for the next episode. You know what I'm saying? Likewise, hope you guys are having a good day or night wherever you are hearing this. Everyone is different, everyone is special, and stuff like that. And yeah, see you later. Thank you so much, Going to Grip, for coming on. And I hope you have a good night, buddy.
Thank you, you too. Peace out, man.
All right. Thank you guys for listening, and I am out.